Hey, welcome back. Pagitt Radio, broadcasting live out of the Twin Cities and around the world on the internet
And even in Minnesota.
and on your smartphones. Some of you who are only listening on the internet, good for you. Nothing wrong with that if you've got a computer in front of you. But if you have a smartphone, you can pick this up on Spreaker. You can pick it up. You can watch audio. You can watch video. We're going to be chatting with my friend David Hayward. David's a great cat doing some really interesting things, and he has a new project called The Lasting Supper. Hey, David Hayward.
Hey, how are you?
All right. Oh, very fine, my friend. Very, very fine. Thanks for being on the show again. David's a friend of the show. Has been on before. We had you on when your book was published with your very fine comics.
Thank you.
And you present yourself to the world in a couple of ways. One of them is as the naked pastor.
Yes, sir. That's me.
Are you currently clothed?
I am fully clothed. I even got shoes on.
With socks?
Yes, with socks.
With socks. All right. I thought you were maybe living it up. All right, David. You've not only are you an author and a thinker and a person who cares about folks in Haiti, which is where we met.
That's right.
Traveled in the back of a truck together through Haiti.
Really?
Yeah.
I have fond memories of that trip.
Boy, I do too. I think about it regularly. We should do that again.
We should.
Yes, we should.
Take me.
I'm there.
I want to go.
Yeah, let's do that. We need someone to organize it like they did last time, because apparently we won't go do it on our own.
I'd also say, David, you're an excellent user of the gerund. I think that's pretty well placed. ING there, the lasting.
Yeah, don't
supper.
you love that?
I love that. It makes my little English major heart very happy.
Yeah, David, I don't know if you know Victoria Lynn, but she's not only the sidekick on the show, but she has master's degrees in literature. So, she appreciates a well-placed gerund, unlike your common population.
I love the play on words, the lasting supper. I mean, I think it's just great. So.
All right, so tell us about that. TheLastingSupper.com is an online community for people to join. I think there's a number of things interesting about it, including the gerund. So tell us what you're up to here with the Lasting Supper.
Well, first of all, it was launched because of my own. Thanks for having me on the show, by the way.
Of
really
course,
appreciate it.
of course, anytime.
Welcome.
Yeah, I wanted to. It's for my own need. I mean, naked pastors out there. It's on the edge. It's offending people. It's stirring things up, and it's a very vibrant, but at the same time, kind of a provocative community. It's very argumentative and opinionated and all that kind of thing. And I was looking for a place where, people of like minds could gather in a non-confrontational kind of a way. So I started theLastingSupper.com for a place where I could just do that, just relax and be myself and just, engage in nice conversations and invite others to do the same. So it's kind of like the naked pastors out there shaking up the apple cart, and the Lasting Suppers to collect those who've fallen off, I guess. And just
nice. Okay, and I really appreciate that about you. I appreciate that about you. You're recognizing that there's sort of two sides to all of this, right? That you can say to people like, hey, there's another way to do this. There's another way to think about it. Those allergies that you've had, you don't have to keep having them frustrated. Those arguments that you feel are going on inside of your head, whether they come out your mouth or not with someone, it doesn't have to be like that. And the writing that you do and the work that you do has helped people to do that. And then you've also said, but people need to live in some kind of interconnection with one another. Like
absolutely,
human beings are not just right. We're not just right ideas that are trying to pursue right idea-ness. Yeah. And so the Lasting Supper, I want to ask you two things about it that folks can see on the website, thelastingsupper.com. One of them is your trademarked tagline, "Help yourself."
Yeah.
I really like that. What's that about?
Well, it's kind of like a play on the words, like buffet. You come in and there's just all kinds of resources for people who are in the church and struggling to stay, or who have left the church and looking for ways to nurture their spiritual lives, or so there's all kinds of resources. Also, it kind of alludes to the fact that I believe in spiritual independence. Even though we're interdependent, I think we need to be spiritually independent at the same time. That is responsible for ourselves, our own spirituality. So it kind of is encouraging people to come who like to think for themselves, think independently, want to live independently, but also connected to other people. So it's a kind of a play on words there, the Lasting Supper, where you can gather around a table. You don't have to lose your unique self-identity. while at the same time enjoying communion and community with other people.
Yeah, well, you are certainly more clever than all the other guests that Lord God has made on the show, uh, and I love it. I know a lot of pastors who, or people in religious systems who, if they saw the sensibility of help yourself, would be like, oh, see, there they go again.
There's those
These
people.
kind of emerging types who, what they really
Yeah.
want is to engage in their own narcissism, and they just want it the way they want it. And when they don't get it the way they want it, then, like little divas, they go pouting away because they can't have it the way they want it. What they need to do is to commit themselves to live inside this community, under this authority, and that's what's going to allow them to move away from their self and their selfishness into selflessness. And I'm sure that there were maybe even times in your own life when those arguments would have either made more sense to you, or perhaps were even arguments that you found yourself making. So talk a little bit about what sensibilities went in for you to saying, like, no, we think that, like, people taking charge of their own spiritual life and needing to be able to help themselves is an important thing, and you want to lead with that. In fact, you trademarked it.
Yes, I have trademarked it. Well, because it's a different perspective. It's a different paradigm, I suppose, where I think the healthiest. Well, let's take marriage, for example. The healthiest marriage is when.
Is this between two men or a man and a woman? Which marriages are we talking about? No, I'm just kidding. Go on.
Well, in Canada, both. Right?
Okay, that's why I was asking,
That's
because with you
right
people,
on.
it's just anything goes.
So,
Right on, you
who knows?
Canadians.
The best relationships are where each partner is healthy independently. And that makes for the best community, is when each person is healthy independently. So that's something we strive to do. That's what I'm challenging in Naked Pastors, the herd mentality, commit to authority, believe everything we say kind of ideology. And with the Lasting Supper, we're providing a place where people can exercise and that's exercise like in workout, not cast out.
Nice.
So where they can exercise their independent thinking and so on, and become healthy independently. And what we're discovering is that it creates a really dynamic community where people are getting more and more informed, more and more courageous, more and more independent, embracing their own unique personalities and gifting and contributions to the world. And I think that makes for a far more dynamic community than, sort of a homogenous kind of a leveling effect that so many institutions can have on people.
Put your head down and toe the line. And we were just talking about this to Jonathan Dudley, about how he wrote this book, Broken Words, and tried to speak out in a way that some of the other intellectuals in the evangelical community didn't feel they could or weren't willing or able to do, and that for some folks in some communities, not just evangelicals, feel like the minute they start to step into that kind of independent thinking, that they are ostracized or criticized and alienated in their communities. And so to not have another alternative often keeps people in places where they don't feel like they can really exercise their own thoughts or development as a spiritual person or any kind of person.
Right.
And that to have a community like yours available seems like it makes it could be pretty freeing for people who feel like it's either this community or no community. This community where I can't think or share what I really believe or question what I believe.
Yeah, well, that's exactly true. Like people come to the Lasting Supper, they exercise their right to believe what they believe and to express, to voice their opinions in the forums and in chat rooms. And we're doing Google Hangouts now. And, they exercise that. And what they're finding is that they're actually able to do the same thing in real life, face to face with people, because, it's a lot different online, right? You can be super courageous online and
Right.
when you get face to face with other people, you lose it.
Wilt.
How does it work when you become a member? Like you said, there's Google Hangouts. What other kinds of things can people do?
Yeah, well, there's the forums. That's probably the backbone of the site. I do a blog post every day that's unique to the Lasting Supper. That we have the forums, all kinds of different threads, and then we have chats, one-on-one chat. We have chat rooms several times a week, and then we have we're hoping to do Google Hangouts every week, and they last about an hour. Where we're going to be interviewing other members on the site. They're all incredible people, ex-pastors, people who've been evangelical leaders and now are atheists. We have a Buddhist nun. We have agnostics. We have all kinds of people there.
And for people who don't know, a Google Hangout can
Yeah.
involve a video chat so people can see one another. Are you going to use that component? Will people be able to see
Yeah,
one
yeah,
another's
it's
faces
actually
off their webcams?
yeah. So Google Hangout is 10 people can actually be involved in the conversation visually and audio.
Mm-hmm.
And then millions can actually watch in streaming it on YouTube.
Yeah.
So it's really cool technology and it's free. So we're taking advantage of that.
Yeah, I think that's great. And you know, to Victoria's question about how it's structured, one of the things I liked about it and am excited is that you ask people to pay for it. That
Yep.
it's somewhere around $90 to $100 a year to be
No,
involved in
actually,
this.
it's $7 a month or 75 a year. It's super cheap.
75 a year.
And the reason we do that is for two reasons. One is it provides a gateway. It keeps out the trolls and the bullies and all that.
Yes.
And so far, it's been effective. We have a few hundred members already, and it's really does keep out the bad guys, the meanies. And another thing is, you know, we're doing this full time, and it's costing a lot of money. So it just helps the site to function and keeps the community or the space available. Right.
So you must have done a lot of thinking about this, because to a lot of people, the idea of online as online community has a whole sort of kind of imagination around it, right? Where
Yeah.
some people think, first of all, it's free. Second of all, it's shallow. Third of all, it's kind of you really have to deal. It's like a public bus. Like you really just have to deal with everybody who gets on, and it's not your job to decide, you know, who's part of this thing or not.
Right. Right.
So really, I mean, I guess the public bus is kind of a real a good way for people to think about, a good metaphor for how people think about online communities. You know, it's super free, kind of, or cheap. You know,
Right.
way cheaper than others.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to do that. You've said, no. This is going to be people who've made a commitment to one another and like that. Do you ask any other commitments out of people who are members? Like, do they have to make some vow of behavior to one another, or do they make
Well, celibacy is the number one vow. No, I'm only
yes.
kidding.
Yeah. At least
No.
celibacy while they're actually doing things on the site. No
No, we have
no sexy making while you're on the Google chat, or
Sexy making.
is that not what everybody calls it?
I don't
Is it just my wife and I?
I
Wow.
We're
Huh.
just not going to go
No.
there, Doug. I don't know.
Huh.
No.
And doesn't it always follow with weeping and a real sense of deep shame? No? Is that
No,
not- Anyway,
no,
anyway.
not that either.
Okay. No, I'm
Oh
kidding.
boy. Okay,
So, no,
sorry.
do,
We
do, do, you ha-
digress.
do you have any other
We
like
just have values that we want people to abide by, and that is
Yeah.
things like we listen before we speak. We don't try to change people's minds. We don't preach. We don't try to correct other people.
to a radio show host, those sound like horrible values. Why would you have values like that? Those are
Well, the thing is,
that'd bring an end to this whole show.
we would have
we
nothing
want a
left.
space where people feel free to share their opinions, and
Yeah.
you know, we just listen to one another, and that's remarkable. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that is actually
It is.
is counseling practice, where you just sit in a circle with other
Mhm.
people and you just share your feelings or your thoughts, and nobody can give advice.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody can give advice. You just listen. It's profoundly transformative stuff.
Mm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it's proving itself to be true on the Lasting Supper.
And is this kind of new for you? Give us a little bit of your pedigree. I know you've worked in churches before. You've been a pastor before. Have you ever been involved in any kind of a community like this, or does this feel like for you too that this is a new
Well,
experience?
I've always said there's no perfect church. There's only perfect moments, and I've been in churches where we've had perfect moments.
Mm.
You know, the trick is to try to elongate those moments or to make more of them.
Mm.
And you know, I have experienced profound sense of community in local churches. So I totally believe in it. I think it's possible, and I think we should do everything we can to see that happen. And so I am trying to put into practice online what I've seen happen.
Like the best of.
Yeah, best of, absolutely.
And have you yourself been involved in any kind of online communities that have done this?
Not in this way at all.
Mm-hmm.
No.
And it actually feels like it's setting aside the nature of religious conversation, or of people having sort of a religious angle on this community. Just as an online community, it feels like you're really doing some deep pioneering. Do you feel sometimes like your own desires and what you want from this are out in front?
Yeah, totally. I feel like a pioneer. There's very few people I can talk to who are doing anything like this. So it's exciting, but every once in a while, I'm looking around for some advice or encouragement or something, and basically it's mostly coming from the community at the Lasting Supper itself, where they're saying, "This is awesome, we love it, keep doing it," and So that's where I'm getting most of my inspiration, is from the community itself right now.
Do you feel like you're going to have to put a limit of the number of people who will be involved in this? Does it feel fully scalable, or are you?
It feels scalable because we'll bring on more people who are on the same page as I am or whatever, and can help oversee the thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, so tell those to listeners who might want to engage in this, and so there's obviously a way of engaging that's like join the community, and then turn over all their hard-earned dollars to you, and then start engaging in the community. But what about people who say, what can I do to really add to this community? Like, do you need developers? Do you need money? Do you need what kinds of resources do you sit around saying, like, oh, we just need a little more? I think about a lot of church planters, they start a new church and they're like, what we really need is a bass player. Like, seriously, if we could get a bass player, that would really help. Or, it's not everything, but it's kind of the thing at that moment that they feel like they sort of need.
Well, we don't need a bass player, but we put a lot of money so far into branding and marketing and developers and designers. So money is a problem. We could always use more money.
Do you raise this money? Are you a nonprofit? Do you raise the money? Do you have investors that invest in a business?
No investors. No, it's just from the membership itself. And I've been, I make money on the other hand through my art and things. It's been totally financed by myself.
It's all your money.
It's all my money. It's sort of, I guess, what they call bootstrapped. I've totally bootstrapped the whole thing, and so it's exciting in that way. I truly am a pioneer in that way. I mean, there's been no funding. It's just been totally. I believe in this. I'm going for it. I'm boldly going where no man has gone before. And
nice.
There's nobody to fund it or finance it. But
would you be open to that if somebody said, "Hey, I'd like to throw $50,000 at this thing"? Or does that worry you that you really do? Like, do you want it to come from the community of involvement, or would you take some investor or?
Well, we could talk. I don't know. I haven't really thought about that. The cool thing about the members are that they say, listen, I know there's people out there that would love to become members, but can't afford it right now, like students or single moms or whatever. And so they're saying, I'll pay for a couple annual memberships or things like that.
So you're more worried about the people that can't afford $7 a month than the people who can afford $50,000 to invest in it right now.
Well, see, that's the thing. Like, it's the gateway thing, and the people who do join, it does show that they're committed, and that they're signing on to the values of the site. So, really, this is providing a value and a need for people, and I believe in it. It's needed, especially this day and age, where more and more people are feeling ostracized and alienated from any kind of community locally, and so I'm providing something for people that's of real value. And the people who do see it and believe in it are providing memberships for other people and
do you have a sense how long has the Lasting Supper been going?
Since September.
Since September
2012.
Okay, so do you have a sense then over these 6 or 7 months how many times a day, week, month someone needs to engage in it in order to feel like they're an active participant? Like, could someone? What's your sense of that?
Yeah, that's an interesting question because
Thank you. We only ask interesting questions.
This happens. Yeah. It's a really good question.
Yeah, thank you. Say that again.
Uh, praise you.
Yeah.
The, the the interesting thing about the Lasting Supper is when people come and join the community, one of the first things they say to me almost consistently is, "Oh my goodness, I'm not crazy. I'm not alone. I'm normal. I mean, there's other people like me."
Mm-hmm.
And that alone is like 90% of the problem. And
Mm.
people immediately they feel satisfied. So some people are on there several times a day because they enjoy the conversation. Some people just pop in, when they need affirmation and validation for where they're at spiritually or whatever. So yeah, it is an interesting question because it's different for different people. Some people like to check in every day. Some people maybe once a week, maybe a couple times a month.
Mm-hmm.
And listeners can go to the website and see there's some of the stories of members, and they're pretty sweet stories about people's
Yep.
experience in the community, how they felt before and how they felt afterwards, and seem very
Yeah.
heartfelt and just very grateful for a
Yeah,
chance.
there's one thing too I want to say is the people on there. It's not a place for people to whine and complain and lash out against the church and all this, and where we're sort of licking each other's wounds and all that. It's not like that at all. These people are very intelligent. They know how to process their suffering and struggles and so on, and they're very the conversations are very sane and very gracious, and they're great listeners. So it's not a pity party.
Great. The people, when someone goes to the website, thelastingsupper.com, there's some sliders that sort of go by with the information about the community, and there's pictures, all black and white pictures, little thumbnail sized pictures of people that are involved in the community. Are those actual community members, or are they pictures that you pulled off the internet because they look like the kind of people you want?
Members,
okay.
Yeah.
How do you get? Is that something people do? Do they create a profile and then upload their own picture? Do people?
Yeah, it's kind of like Facebook. It has a Facebook kind of component to it.
Okay.
What it has an activity feed, and they have their own profiles and their own biographies and their own stories, and you can upload pictures and videos and your own music and.
How public is it? Like, can somebody? I can imagine there might be some people for whom they want everyone they know to know that they're in the Lasting Supper community, and other people who might not want everyone they know to know about that. Do you think about that? Is that an option for people?
Oh yeah, no, It's absolutely private. You can't get in unless you're a member. It's impossible. You cannot get in unless you're a member, and you can't see any of the.
And your picture won't show up on the front unless you've said, "Hey, David, go ahead and put my picture up on the front."
That's right.
And these are very good-looking people. I got to tell you, like every one of them.
They're pretty nice.
Yeah, they're just
attractive bunch.
Yeah,
everybody's beautiful in their own way.
Yes, but all these people are beautiful in their black and white pictures too. That's the crazy thing, like I see a lot of pictures of myself, and I'm beautiful in a lot of ways, but not pictures, apparently. So it's I think this is great, David. Good.
Thank you. I do too.
Good for you. Do you have a sense that it's got sticking power? Are you going to stick with it? Are the people in the community going to stick with it? Or is it?
Oh yeah. The retention rate's really good. I believe in it so much, and it's supplying a need of mine. It's here to stay, and I'm looking for it to really grow as more and more people hear about it, and members share with other people. The thing is with members, it's funny because people want to share. They don't want to, so they might not want their families there or their best friends and things like that. So it's kind of a unique kind of a situation. So I am looking forward to growing though.
Great. Well, Doug Pagitt Radio would love to be the official radio program of the Lasting Community of the Lasting Supper, but I'd have to join it myself. So I think I will do that.
Awesome.
If you take an American, do you take Americans, or is it just a Canadian thing?
No, they're mostly all Americans. Are you kidding me? They're all over the world. We have them in the UK, Germany, France, South Africa, Australia, New Zealand, Thailand, Japan, China, India.
Okay, but it's all in English, right?
Oh yes.
All right, good.
Yeah.
I don't want to feel dumb because I can't speak.
Just get WordLens.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Well, David, this is fantastic. It's called thelastingsupper.com. I'm going to tell everybody I know about it, and I think they should join. And it's a super good thing. So
awesome.
So thanks, buddy. Thanks for being on the show.
Thanks David.
Doug. Thanks for all you do.
Guys.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
Take care.
How about that guy, huh?
He's great.
Nothing better than David Hayward. There's just some things in this world that are right. David Hayward gets the right on today.
That's right. He deserves it.
I mean, how right on is that?
They're
a Canadian making up something. I mean, good for them.
right.
It's
There's
about
already
time.
a deficit, right?
No.
According to you,
No.
not in my book. I'm ready to flee to Canada.
A good Minneapolis guy loves the suburb of Canada.
Yeah, that's right.
No, I think this is fantastic. Good for David on so many levels,
Yes.
right? Like it's a good day to be reminded that the Catholic Church has a new pope, and there's whole new kinds of Christian spiritual communities that are forming simultaneously.
It's a great Pi Day. Just continuing on and on.
All right, good, beautiful people. Go watch those 3 movies.
It'll be a
And we'll talk to you next week.
Higgs
Thanks.
boson particle.
Thanks for being your beautiful selves, and good for you, David Hayward. Right on. May your faith bring faith. May your strength bring strength. May your hope bring hope. And may your love bring love. In all things, with one another and apparently during your sexy times. All right. Thanks for listening to Duck Fest Radio. We'll be back next week. See ya.